And with us right now, Michelle Hartzman. Michelle, you're just down the road in Miami. And this is going to be a fascinating conversation because you've managed to build a very, very successful company with zero website.
Yes.
and some people are like, what? How do you do that? And Michelle, what's the answer? Like, how did you do that?
Yeah, so I'm a full proponent of building relationships. I thrive off of people's energy. I thrive off of getting to know people. And early on in my business, I did have a website. I'm 4+ years in, and what I had found and just kind of learning my market and learning the people that were coming into my offers is that even though they would go to my website or they'd go to my applications, they would message me directly or they would message my team directly to get inside of my offers. And so at this point in my business, having the perfectly curated website just is not a priority because it's not affecting sales.
Wow. So let's talk about what you do. What is the outcome that you help folks create, who that is, and then we'll kind of get into the nitty gritty of how do you do this? And as you said, we were talking beforehand, you're like, yeah, I have DMs, many DMs a day where I'm engaging and, percentage of those turn into business.
Correct. Yeah. So I help online coaches and service providers grow and scale to 6 figures and beyond. And the biggest way that we do this is through organic sales, authentic sales, organic marketing, and then really owning who they are, bringing them to life online.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what does that mean? So if someone does own a traditional business, how can they implement more of what you teach?
Yeah, so more than ever, especially I think in 2020, we've realized this a lot. More than ever, we're craving that human connection. And so even if you're a brick and mortar business, I want to buy from a person. I want to buy from you. I want to know your mission, even clothing that I buy, or if I work with clients that are service providers or selling tangible things, I'm buying from that person. I'm buying because I actually like them. And the more that we can bring this to life on social media, the more sales we're going to get because we're investigating people now. We're looking at what they stand for. We're seeing if they're diverse and inclusive. And I want to see that in somebody's brand before I give them my money.
Mm. And so what does that look like in terms of so for example, like your Instagram site is generally where a great first place to connect with you. And your Instagram is Michelle Hartzman. So regular Michelle spelling, and then Hartzman is Hartzman. And one thing because I'm going to ask you about this, one thing I'd love, if you're listening to this podcast, go look at what Michelle's Instagram looks like, because it's unlike most Instagram accounts, and your engagement is incredible. And I'll sum it up for someone's like, gosh, I'm not going to be able to look at it. Okay. I'll just sum it. It's all Michelle, every single image. And Michelle, you are owning your own inner Oprah. It's kind of funny because I asked the question, because we deal with some clients that they're kind of hiding out. Like they're afraid. They don't want to put themselves out there. They don't want to be vulnerable. They don't even have a picture of themselves on their website. Everything, on their social media is just very kind of safe and corporate, and there's not a lot of personality there. You've gone completely the other direction. And when I encourage people to do this, I say, again, I'm kind of dating myself here, but I think of, Oprah and Oprah magazine. Does Oprah ever put herself on the cover of her magazine? Right. And it's like, wait a minute, I've bought a lot of groceries and I always see it at the checkout line. I don't think I've ever seen an issue of Oprah magazine where she's not on the cover. So what gives, Michelle? Help us understand what's going on here.
Yeah. So when it comes to especially online business and online marketing, we are our brands. And so I am my brand. People are buying from me. And here's the thing, I want people to feel a certain way when they buy from me, whether that's a passive offer or a live coaching offer. I want them to feel safe. I want them to feel taken care of. I want them to feel like they're buying from a human being. And so if they come to my Instagram or my Facebook, they see me and they know there's a person behind this brand that I'm giving money to, and I feel safe in that transaction.
How does it work? I mean, how well does it work? Go ahead and explain. Okay, so explain kind of what's going on in your tribe's culture here when you're putting yourself out here with so much vulnerability. Like, were you afraid of like people criticizing you?
Oh my gosh. My grandpa follows me, my sisters, my parents. That's where I was most afraid of, people that like know me in like a different walk of life outside of my business. But here's the thing, who I am in my everyday life is also who I am in my business. And that was a real inner dialogue I had to have with myself of, combined these two because they're not actually different. And I want people to feel something from my content so that they feel like they can open up and be vulnerable with me. As leaders, I believe we must go first, right? So if I want someone to open up with me and be vulnerable and share what they're insecure with right now and where they want to go, I have to go first.
And what are you insecure with?
That's a good question. I mean, we all have insecurities, right? And I would say mine is the comparing. I think no matter what level we get to, I've heard it said two different ways: new level, new devil, or up level, upset. There's always people beyond us in this entrepreneurial space. And it's looking at, can I get to that next level? There's definitely insecurity that comes up of, okay, can I reach that next level? Am I enough to get there? It's just reminding ourselves that once we get to that first level, of course, we can get to that 7-figure and 8-figure and beyond.
Yeah. So again, I'm absolutely inspired. I've already shared your account with our social media manager. And I think that, for me, looking like, I would say maybe 1 out of every 8 to 10 is like me. And it's just like, so I'm insecure in that if I put myself out there too much, people are going to be like, oh, this guy is a raging egomaniac. Michelle, are you a raging egomaniac?
I am probably the farthest thing from it. And I can understand where that thought would come from. But what I like to remind myself again is that it is my brand and I want people to know me. I want people to, when they meet me in person, it is the biggest compliment when they say, I feel like I know you. I feel like you're just the same person I see on social media. And they want to tell me, again, their deepest, darkest secrets, and they want to confide in me, and then I can help them. And so to me, that's the biggest compliment, that they feel like they know me just from social media, from showing up and being myself.
I'm wondering, so with the videos and stuff like that, and I wonder if someone might be looking at this. And so Michelle, let's say that you're me and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy already. Like, I don't know that I want to be like, I want to be on social, like I want to be accessible for sure. But the reality is, like, I only have so much time personally to engage. I mean, I've got a great social media manager, and obviously, we produce tons of content, but I really want to maybe come up with some ideas here. If someone's looking at this and like, oh my gosh, I want to do more of this, but I can't be a full-time Instagram person. Like, do you have people help you in any way, or is this all you? Like, are you answering every DM personally?
No, I am not a one-woman show. And I will tell you, I mean, I think many of us at this level, our businesses grew because we asked for help. So I do have a full-time team, and I do have a social media manager as well that does filter through my messages. But also when it comes to creating the content, I'm not somebody that's on social media online. I think when you look at an Instagram like mine, it can be very kind of overwhelming to think, oh my gosh, I had to put all my time and energy to creating on social media. But if I'm being honest, I'm not on social media all day long because, just like you, I've got clients and projects and things that I'm creating that I can't spend every waking hour on social media. It's also exhausting.
Yeah. I'm just, it's kind of funny. Like I'm chatting with you. We're already like, I've got my director of operations, my social media manager. We're like, okay, look at her Instagram. Like this is, and so like, we're already like coming up with ways that, cause like, for example, like, even designing, okay, it's not difficult, I don't think, to take the pictures and to shoot the videos. And again, I'm very conscientious of the person who's listening to us that is a little exhausted thinking about all this extra work that they personally have to do. You don't have to do it. So you could take the photos, you could shoot the videos, load them into Dropbox, get them to your team and say, listen, it's your job. I just batched. I bet you do this too, you stinker. I bet you batch a bunch of photos and then that way, like if I'm out walking my dog, for example, which I do, like, and that's really, I think that's like a perfect opportunity for me when I'm out walking Levi. If I say his name too loud, he comes in here. So my mini Australian Shepherd. But like, that's the perfect time for me to like out walking my dog. That's like the perfect time for me to just like shoot like a short little video or something. Get that to my team, just do a bunch of those, like of just things I've been thinking about, get that to my team. Cause it's the hardest part for me is like the hashtags and formatting the posts and all that other stuff. And then of course, sometimes I do need to engage, but most of the time my team can, handle a lot of engagement for me as well. So I just want to, to our listener here, take heart. You can, get a great social media manager or VA to help out with this.
Absolutely. And repurpose. Here's the thing, like if I'm on my story, I have a dog too. So if I'm on my story recording and say it was a really awesome moment that I had this epic training on my story, I can reach out to my team and say, hey, can you go make written content or an email or whatever it might be from today's story? I want to go ahead and repurpose that. So I'm also not always recreating new ideas and redoing new things. And I might take a written post and put a picture with it. And then maybe I'm going to take that same post and put a video with it so that I'm not continually redoing things, but my same message is getting out there and it's consistent.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Have you ever gotten any haters like comment on your stuff, like girl, put your shirt on or something like that? Or and not put your shirt on, but you have like, you're like working out and other stuff like that. And I don't know if there's, I would be so nervous about like, putting like a workout photo there. Cause I just feel like people would be like, oh, get out of here. But in reality, I don't know. I mean, that might happen once in a great while, but haters are always going to be haters.
Always. And, it only happened to me once, and not even from like a figure or physique standpoint.
Yeah.
It was from a business standpoint of, as business owners, we share our success because it's admirable and it also inspires others to realize what's possible for them. So that's my job as a business mentor, to share my own journey. And that's kind of the hate that I'll get sometimes, because for those that might not be in our shoes or even in our industry, it's hard for them to comprehend some of the success that we actually do see on a day-to-day.
Yeah. When you, what's your rule of thumb for like, creating like if your goal is engagement on social, what do you do?
So here's the thing, social media is called social media because we're supposed to be social. And so many of us just put stuff out there and then wait for people to like come talk to us. And I believe it's actually opposite. And that's where hire the social media manager to do the engagement for you, to create the relationships for you. Hey, I see you're watching my stories every day. I want to get to know you. Starting to create the relationships with the people that are liking your stuff and seeing your stuff every day, because the second you talk to them, most of them will just buy from you because you said one or two things to them.
All right. So for someone who's been watching or listening to our conversation and like, this is so cool, I'm so inspired. What does somebody, when they work with you specifically, what is the outcome that you help them achieve? Like say, for example, like the Brave and Fierce Mastermind, which I know I don't know that that's opening, like you do that once a year. Is that right?
It runs twice a year. So it's 6 months at a time.
Okay. And what do you do in that mastermind?
Yeah, so it's 6 months together. And with a mastermind, the whole idea is being around people that are ultimately above where you are. I personally never want to be the smartest one in the room. I never want to be the most achieved because I'm not going to learn. I'm not going to grow. And so it's taking 6 to 7 women that are in similar areas, some are above one another, and really creating this sisterhood to grow and scale together because they're learning from one another, but they get to rise together. And so, yes, I'm their coach and mentoring them, but it's honestly, it's them being in this small container together that forces them to up level and do things that they would have never done on their own, or even just in a one-on-one setting, because you're seeing other people do it. And there's also this competitive side that we have as entrepreneurs that's like, oh, if she did this, I could do this better. And so they thrive in that environment. So we do that over 6 months time, and they grow and scale beyond 6 figures. It's really amazing what happens.
Well, Michelle, it's absolutely working for you. So you've built, again, a very successful 6-figure business. No website anymore.
No website.
Wait a minute, Michelle, what about SEO though? Aren't you worried?
So we do a little bit of Pinterest, and that's something like I want to have fun with my business, right? And I think you can see that from social media. I'm dancing all the time. I think that business does get to be fun. And so I really love the idea of Pinterest, and I have a lot to say. And so not saying that I'll never create a website, it just hasn't been a priority over these last couple years.
Right. Okay, cool. So follow Michelle on the Instagram, Michelle Hartzman, and that's all one word, HARTZMAN. Michelle, anything else that they should look for?
I mean, look for me. You can message me. Me and my team will get back to you. We love creating new relationships. And then I do also have a free Facebook community, which is the Brave and Fierce Online Entrepreneur. So if you wanted more of me, more videos, you can find me there as well on Facebook.
All right. Sounds great. Michelle Hartzman, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Josh.